So this is going to be my scent of the day and my review for you. It's Miracle of Roses by Miguel Matos. So Miguel sent this one to me. He asked specifically for my honest opinion. So I didn't pay for it, but he did specifically request that I am completely honest in my review, and that is what I intend to do. I have worn this now several times, and I feel like it's time to give it a review. So I've just sprayed some on my wrist, and what I get in the opening, it's reminding me of a really big old building. I don't know why, it's strange. It's reminding me of a huge cathedral or church. Not that it smells incensey, but I'm picturing hard surfaces and dust in a good way, in a really good way. There's cinnamon in here, and there's also something that comes off slightly mentholated, not exactly minty, but there's just something that could almost be medicinal that's slightly mentholated. For some reason it also makes me think about decorating materials, and again, I don't mean this in a bad way, and this is only in the opening. Not like paint or paint stripper or harsh chemicals, more like plaster, kind of like the dust of the plaster I used to plaster walls with, something similar to that. But that isn't something that lasts too long in the fragrance anyway, and I find it really, really pleasant. It is of course a rose fragrance. It's called Miracle of Roses. For now, what I'm getting is something that's smooth, cool. It's making me think about big buildings with hard surfaces and decorating smells, but also there is a sweetness going on here. So there is a note of bread in here, and there's something in here that's very smooth, slightly edible, not exactly bread, maybe more like uncooked sort of dough, uncooked bread dough maybe, but again something a little bit sweet as well, as pulling it all together. I'm going to come back to you with more soon. So I'm now going off on a walk, and I have about 6 or 7 sprays around here, plus a good couple on each hand and arm. The notes in here, I've just had a look on Fragrantica actually. That's weird with the sun shining on my mouth, that's really strange. So I just had a look at the notes, and we have cinnamon, bread, rose, iris, heliotrope, sandalwood, incense, honey, immortelle. So I can understand that there's iris in there, and I think that's probably what's giving it a smooth, ever so slightly feel to it. It's just so comforting. I do not know why it's so comforting to me. I wore it last night to bed. I sprayed it on myself and also on my pillow and the sheet sort of around the end of the top sheet, where you sometimes cover up your nose, don't you? And it was really, really nice. And when I woke up this morning, I could still get hints of it. It was ever so slightly still present on my skin actually, but more so of course on the pillow and the covers. It was really lovely. It mellows down quite a lot, so when you first smell it, it's not sharp, but it's a little brighter than what it becomes. So it's not exactly fresh and sharp, but it is tonally a little more high-pitched than how it gets later, when it gets really, really smooth and really, really mellow. It reminds me a little bit of if you were to break down a concrete wall and then the dust that would come up from that. I love the smell of concrete. As a child, I actually used to eat concrete dust. That is something that I probably shouldn't have shared with you, but I used to scratch between the bricks in the wall of my childhood home and catch the concrete scratchings and actually eat it. I also used to eat chalk, so who knows what was going on there, but I still find the smell of those things, chalk, talcum powder, concrete dust, there's something about them all, and I think it's the mineralness about it that I really love. Like the smell of rain on a hot pavement is kind of similar to that as well, which is called petrichor, which I learnt sort of a few years ago. I feel like there's something a little bit like that going on in here, something ever so slightly mineral-like, petrichor-like, that just really feels so comforting. So off I go on my little walk. What a beautiful day. I just had to share some of this walk with you. With this beautiful graveyard, these old stones, the sun shining. It's a bit chilly actually, but it's just lovely. I just love the rapeseed through the dead branches and the blue sky and the clouds. I think it's absolutely beautiful. Even better in real life. I'm afraid I can't quite capture it. So here we are, fields of gold. I've broken through, had to get into the field. Look at the lovely clouds and the beautiful vibrant yellow of the rapeseed. Absolutely stunning. Hiya! So I didn't get around to talking any more about this fragrance because I got distracted with drink, food, friends, a chat, and then I needed to come home and go immediately to sleep and repent all day long, and that is what I've done. So I'm wearing it tonight because I'm going on my first night shift in 2 weeks, 12-hour night shift. So I'm going to be wearing this again so that I can give you a full review. So that's my night shift over with. 12 hours plus half an hour there, half an hour back. It's a long old time. And I feel like I don't know this fragrance well enough to properly review it yet. So I'm going to wear it to bed again tonight. I find it really, really nice and comforting for a bedtime scent. The things I will say about it for now is in the dry down, in a far dry down, I do smell a woodsy incense that's really, really nice. It also reminds me a little bit of smelling pebbles on the beach. Imagine damp pebbles if you go to a pebbly beach. There's something just slightly like that. I'm not saying it's smelling like seaweed or seawater exactly, but there's just this hint of a damp pebble. Damp pebbles, really strange. And as I've already said, an uncooked bread dough, and the rose is smooth, slightly sweet, but not like a foodie rose, not a jammy rose, not a Turkish delight rose, not synthetic, but also it doesn't smell like pure rose essential oil, or some perfumes have a rose and the stem all going on at the same time. It's not like that either. It's kind of an abstract rose, to my nose anyway. The fragrance doesn't feel to me like a going out fragrance. So when I wore it out with my friend the other day in the pub, it was a lunchtime thing, but it ended up a bit leery, let's be honest. It turned into a bit of a party, and it doesn't feel like a party fragrance. It feels too special, peaceful. It's a little bit quiet as well. It's not a big projector. You are aware of it for, I would say, for the first 6 hours on skin. You will be aware of it. You get light whiffs of it, but it's not a strong one. So for me, it's not a party fragrance. I like something that's quite big and strong when I go out partying. It's probably something I would choose for a more intimate situation or daytime. I'm actually really loving it. I'm really looking forward to reapplying it to go to bed actually. It's something so calming about it. But I'll give you the story behind it in the next clip. But I'm going to bed now because I'm absolutely knackered. So it's the next day. I had a lovely sleep wearing Miracle of Roses, and now I'm going to tell you the story and the inspiration behind it. So Miguel Matos, the perfumer, was looking for inspiration for his work. So he is a perfumer, also a curator, and he was looking for some inspiration, and he came across the statue of Saint Elizabeth. Saint Elizabeth was born in 1271 in Spain and married to King Denis of Portugal. So in Portugal, she would disguise herself and take food out to the poor, but she was forbidden to do so. I think she got caught basically and was told that she'd be locked away in the castle if she disobeyed. However, she carried on doing it every single day. She took things out to the poor, and one day her king saw her and said, "What are you carrying?" And she said, "Roses, my lord." And it was midwinter. There were no roses to be found anywhere. When he asked her to show him, she dropped her dress, or allowed what should have been bread to fall out of her dress, but actually roses fell to the floor. So that's why it's called the Miracle of Roses. So she got away with it and was able to carry on looking after her poor. Then when her husband died several years later, she went off to a convent, and there are further stories that Miguel is going to be sharing. I think he's going to be basing some more work upon this wonderful woman, which I'm really excited to find out more about. But for now, this fragrance is based upon the bread and the roses, of course, but also he used some conventional materials like the iris, and he wanted to give it a feeling, a more spiritual or religious feeling with the sandalwood, which I think we all know has a lot of history in religion. I really like this fragrance. If I had just had a sample, then I would have bought this fragrance. That's how much I like it. It's not one, as I say, it's not one I'll be wearing out to parties, but it's one that I wear for myself when I want comfort, or when I want just something peaceful that's not in your face. This is the kind of fragrance I would just wear day to day, just to go out shopping or to work. There's nothing weird going on here. There's nothing too difficult to cope with. I would never call it challenging, although it certainly does not smell mainstream either. It's definitely one to test first, just in case. But I, for one, I think it's fabulous. I really like it, and I love the story behind it, the inspiration, and the way that Miguel has managed to convey that comfort, kindness and spirituality into scent. I think it's really amazing. So that is it. I feel a little bit like I haven't done this fragrance justice. I may well revisit and do another review further down the line. I think what it is, I'm not really picking out a lot of individual notes. It's just the way the fragrance feels on your skin, smells on your skin. It's just a smell that is difficult for me to pinpoint. That's why I've kind of gone a bit weird with the way I'm describing it. But I want to be as honest as I can and let you know how it smells to me. Do check out other reviews online. I saw a really lovely review in the Facebook group Oh My Soul, which is run by the wonderful Christy Long. If you're not in the group already, do go and join it. It's a really nice, inclusive group, and they just love fragrances, talk about fragrances, and there was a particularly wonderful review of this perfume in that group. That's all. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.